Welcome to Immigrate. Welcome to a space where you can be vulnerable, a space where you're not going to be judged, a space where you can be authentic. And my hope and desire is to inspire and motivate everyone that click onto this podcast. So welcome to another episode of Immigrate. Hey, thank you again for joining us in another episode of Immigrate. In each episode, I really like to incorporate the Bible into it and how it extends to us as Christians. And for this season, we're talking about healthy boundaries. And I wanted to point out how Christ has demonstrated healthy boundaries. I was scrolling through Instagram a couple days ago and I saw someone emphasize Jesus had healthy boundaries. And it dawned on me, I should do an episode that talks about that. Because a lot of times as Christians, we tend to talk about what Jesus does and we gill people about what would Jesus do? And we sometimes when something goes wrong, we'll guilt the person of saying, what would Jesus do right now? Or say to the person, would Jesus do that? But I find it's very unfair because we don't honestly tell people the truth about how Christ himself has demonstrated healthy boundaries. So I wanted to touch on these points, and I'm going to talk about 5 ways I have observed how Jesus have demonstrated healthy boundaries. And my favorite at all is the story of the woman at the well. I've been learning about this woman and I'm still learning. I'm fascinated about the Samaritan woman. And the reason why I love that story, one of my favorite stories in the Bible, is because Jesus saw her. Jesus communicated to her honestly. So one of the first ways that Jesus demonstrates support or healthy boundaries is communicating honestly. Jesus spoke truthfully with the woman at the well about her situation. We remember with this woman, this lady at the well, right? And when Jesus first approached her, Jesus never, ever, ever disrespected her. Jesus respected her. I feel like he knew when to go and the time so that but there's a backstory about this. We can go into depth. And I don't want to stray from the point because I feel like if I go into the backstory, then it take away all the morals. But one of the things I like, Jesus knew he was going to see her at that time. Jesus knew her background, but yet he spoke with her honesty, communicate with her in an honest form, and still respected her. A lot of times if we want to have boundaries with people, we have to be honest. We can't be dishonest and we can't speak dishonesty and at the same time disrespecting the person. So one of the way we have noticed is in John 4 verse 16 to 18, the woman at the well story and how Jesus have treated her. And the second healthy way, he set healthy boundaries. You remember the story in Luke 5 verse 16 where Jesus withdrew to a lonely place and pray? When we read through the apostle stories or from Acts to go back to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, we have noticed that Jesus did a very good way of demonstrating to others that we need to rest and spend time with God. When Christians or when we feel burnout or stressed out about church activity, some of the times, or we feel stressed out on general, forget the harmonial parts of it. But in general, sometimes we're like, I can't hear from God. It's sometimes because we're not spending enough time with God, right? So Jesus has demonstrated that in Luke 5 verse 16, where he withdrew himself. Because remember, Jesus would go day and day and day with every one of his disciples, and he will walk and heal the sick. So he demonstrates by showing that rest is important and spending time with God is also an important part of healthy boundary. He made time. The third point is he made time for real relationship. He appointed 12 of his disciples with him that might send him out to preach. So Mark 3 verse 14 is when when he appointed all his disciples, right? So intentionality. So we see here where Jesus create intentionality, friendship, and mentorship. We learn from Jesus that, because even with the stories that we realize how Jesus and his disciples were bonded from time to time to time to time, we understand that in creating these boundaries, we have to make time for a friend, make time for our family member. And we've seen examples of how Jesus had done that in the past. He showed compassionate without enable. John, and that is John 8, verse 10 to 11. Neither do I condemn you. Go now and live your life of sin. Jesus said, send grace to the woman caught in adultery while also calling her to change. You remember that story with the woman in the idolatry, where they all brought her to Jesus to condemn her, and Jesus did not condemn her? Yes, that's another story where Jesus showed compassion without enabling. He didn't condemn her, but he showed her grace and told her, go and sin no more. How many of us see somebody or say a family member make us very angry, and we can look at them and say, I forgive you, right? I forgive you so much. Go and do. I'm going to share a story with this, my youngest brother. And I don't know if you will listen to it, but I have a young brother who sometimes I love that little boy, and he knows I love him very, very, very much. And the reason I love him so much because since he was a child, we had that bonding relationship. And it don't matter what my brother would do, you know, he would never done anything wrong in my eyesight. So growing up, when I was around, I'll take care of him. I'd be the only one to give him the most expensive stuff. Yes, I'll spoil them in the quote unquote term. I wouldn't say spoil, but as a big sister, you think it's your job to be like, take care. I was working. I had the money at the time. I was like, okay, I don't want him to go through what I went through, right? So I'm showing a lot of compassion, like to the point where my brother would never do anything wrong in my eyesight, right? So when I moved and I moved to Canada, things a little bit changed because then my brother started growing up. My brother started doing things that I don't like. And it started puzzling me and like, why is he like this? Why is he this type of behavior? So over time, I started like having this annoyance inside of me. And I'm like, why is he like this? So one day I sat him down and we had the conversations, and we start having the conversations, and he started telling me his true self. That's when he gotten older. And I realized that my brother is no longer a little boy anymore. He's like a big man and all of that. Last year, I went to Jamaica, and after 9 years, I saw my brother. And at this point, my brother was taller than me. He was really tall. And I said to myself, my God, he can even, you know what I mean? He's so tall than me, like I can't even imagine. So I saw him. And when he started telling me all the things he's doing, I didn't like anything he told me because he's not doing the things that I want him to do or the things that I thought he should be doing. And he looked at me and he told me it's his life and I cannot determine what he does. And I have a plan for him. That's not what he wants. That broke my heart because, as I said earlier, my brother, I used to take care of him. I was hoping that one day he would do the things that I wanted to do, all the plans that I have for him, all the plans that my mom has for him. But he looked at me and told me, I don't want that. Does that break my heart? Absolutely. Do we have our differences? Absolutely. But at that point, when I was in Jamaica, I said to him, I love you regardless. And I do love him regardless of who he is. I cannot change the path that he's taking, even though it breaks my heart to see that he's taking that part. But what it does, it allows me to say, you know what? He's an adult now, and he's chose to go that path because of his own desire and all of that. And it dawned on me because I could remember that. It made me think now with that story of the woman when they brought her in adultery and everybody wanted to condemn. I could have condemned my brother because the things that he told me, and I was so disappointed. But then I said to him, and I think when I said to him, I love you regardless, his eyes light up, right? He started thinking that, okay, But then he thought because I said I love him the same way, he thought I was going to enable his behavior. But one thing I told him, I will not be a part of your behavior that you're doing. I will not contribute to the things that you're doing, but I love you regardless. That was very hard because at that point, financial help or anything help at all would stop. And I made it very clear. He didn't like it because he thought, okay, my sister still loved me. I can find ways of how I could tell her stuff and then she might still help me. But what am I bringing this point else to say? Not enabling someone doesn't mean you don't love them. As I read with the poor where Jesus show compassion without enabling. We can show compassion to someone, but we don't have to enable their behavior. How did I get to that point? It took me a lot of work on myself where to say, okay, I love him, but I'm not going to enable his behavior. Do we have our tag and war conversation? Absolutely. Does he try to push my boundaries to summit? Absolutely. Does he make me feel guilty? Absolutely. But sticking to my boundaries and sticking to my compassion side without enabling is something that I have learned to do. And the final point is Jesus showed by he forgive and extend grace. Verses Luke 23 verse 34 says, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Even while suffering on the cross, Jesus demonstrated forgiveness. Can you imagine? The cross is an experience that I don't think I have words to explain how that experience was. But he extended his grace to everybody and he asked his Father to forgive all of us. We don't even deserve Christ's forgiveness. We sin every single day. And while we sin every single day, we also gotten that grace from Christ. When I brought up that story from my brother, I had to give him grace. Do I give it all the time? I'm very harsh. I remember a couple of weeks ago we were having a conversation and I said something really harsh to him. It broke my heart because he said some things and I did not like it. And I said some things to him which I shouldn't have said. And it broke my heart. And I said to my husband, I said something to my brother and I don't like it. I'll call him and apologize. And I did because he didn't deserve it. I know he said what he said, but I said to myself, I said something to him that I did not like. And I would not like for him to think that I feel that for real, right? I extended the grace, even though he said some things that hurt me. I said something to him like, at the end of the day, us as Christians have to understand we have to forgive. Forgiveness is hard, but forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is us. And when we can forgive someone, it doesn't mean that we accept their behavior. It doesn't mean that we are going to tolerate their disrespect or tolerate what they have done to us. It means that we can now move on to the point where we can say, I am ready to move on, right? And for me, when I'm going through something, I will feel so hurt. But the minute I pray about it and let it go, I can't hold that person in my heart. The forgiveness goes, right? So once you let go, and again, forgiving someone does not deplete or does not say you have accepted their behavior. You're forgiving the person because you need that forgiveness to move on. You need to ask God for that forgiveness. I was reading this book, The Bait of Satan by John Bears. And I was reading in chapter 2 and it says, we should allow someone to hurt us. Can you imagine? Can you imagine allowing someone to hurt us? How does that feel? Allowing someone to hurt us. How can you allow what? When I was reading it and I said to one of my friends, I said, this triggered because you are saying to yourself as a Christian, I am allowing this person to hurt me because with the gift of rejection or the gift of offense, you are saying, okay, the person will offend me. They're human. Am I there yet? Not necessarily. But you are asking the person to say, okay, they're offend me, but I have to forgive them. I have to forgive them. And I also have to show them unconditional love. The day when my brother did what he did, I was wrong. He was wrong. But I took it to say, I have to show him unconditional love. But it takes me years to get to this point because at the end of the day, we have to learn that unconditional love doesn't come from us, it comes from Christ. So as I share the 5 points, one was communicated honestly. Two, Jesus set healthy boundaries. Three, he made time for relationship. Four, he showed compassion without enabling. Five, he forgave and extend grace. So in Ezekiel 4 verse 9 to 10, it says, two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other. This verse reminds us of healthy boundaries and build support and encouragement and grace. There's a saying in Jamaica, no man is on an island, no man stands alone. Each one, I think it's a song or something like that. But there's also the motto in Jamaica says, out of many one people we're one. We all one. We all need each other. And that's why it's very important that we understand healthy boundaries, because healthy boundaries help us to create community. It helps us to build our own stories. It helps us to walk confidently into an atmosphere where we feel sometimes we're not accepted. How we can create these healthy boundaries for us to show up in a positive light. One of the things I've noticed too about us is when we are not in an healthy Christian state, we're easily triggered by the least little thing that happen around us, right? So let's start creating healthy patterns. And it's not easy. So if all these 5 techniques that you have learned today and you can do one, that's a start. If you're like, I'm on 2, that's a start. It's a start. It's a start where we all can be at and know that at the end of the day, I am at stage 1, I am at stage 2. Sometimes you go back up to 1. Sometimes you do all 5, but then you go back to the square 1. And that's okay, because we're all in this together and we are trying to create healthy boundaries. Because friends, our families will not be happy, but you won't be happy either. So who are we going to choose? Are we going to choose ourselves? Are we going to choose Jesus? And that's for you guys to answer. Are you choosing a healthy way of life? Are you choosing the truth to please your family? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. So thank you again for listening to another great episode of Immigrate. I always enjoy doing these episodes, and I want you guys to let me know what you think. Thank you. Bye. Hey fam, thank you for listening to that last episode. If you have been inspired by what I just shared, can you do me a favor? Can you just share this with someone that you know might be beneficial? Guess what too? My logo on my video. Follow me on YouTube. I need some followers on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram by Immigrate Podcast. Follow me on Spotify by Immigrate Podcast. Follow me on YouTube by Immigrate Podcast. Just share it. Share it with anyone you know. Share with any family member that you know who might be or may not be struggling with it. But share this podcast. And I look forward to share many more episodes with you. Thank you for listening. Bye.